Hello there! Another week, another lost individual, and another tale to tell. Well, Charlie here is one heck of a warlock. A lonely little thieving warlock that paid a small price for his actions, but a very talented one nonetheless. Maybe next time he won't get caught. Though I doubt it considering how often he's been scolded since arriving here. Frantically running from a 300-pound, nearly 7-foot bugbear was definitely not how Charlie wanted to start his morning. As he dove between Flambe's legs, who was just beginning to prepare a nice breakfast of fig head and mushroom scramble for the camp, Scrundle and Minnow were rolling with laughter while the chickens followed Mogru in excited pursuit of the accused klepto. Seeing a ripe opportunity for entertainment, Alana shifted into a chicken herself and ran in mock exaggeration behind the others. Charlie swore up and down that he would never dare take a thing from Mogru, but it fell on deaf ears. The little gnome had ruined his reputation within the first few days of his arrival at the Gathering Stone. He just couldn't help himself. Pilfering a paring knife from Flambe, a small shiny bauble from Alana's pouch, and even a book or two from yours truly. It was in his nature to take and ask later. Having grown up on the streets and back alleys of the high-marked societal city, all he's known, or owned for that matter, boiled down to fending for himself, as nothing was ever given, nor has anyone cared for him. Save for the befriended rats or ghostly reanimated beings he conjured from time to time. That being said, even though he's made a living as a pickpocket, it was never with malice, and currently at least he had full intentions of returning anything he took. This merely became his way of interacting, starting a conversation, or you could say it was a form of endearment at this point in his life, as he never really learned how to befriend people naturally, and pretending just didn't feel right to him. So he would fall back on old habits, but tried to find a way to make it work for him as well as the victim. Because the very last time he made a true attempt at burglary, not only was he caught and jailed, but for punishment his pinky was removed from his right hand. Ugh, how dreadful. At any rate, you could say that Charlie had learned his lesson, but old habits are hard to break. Back to his current predicament, Charlie rounded a corner of the Gathering Stone's encampment and tripped over a few crates that had fallen during the shenanigans, which was just enough of a slip-up for Mogru to close the gap and grab Charlie by the scruff of his robe. The chickens dispersed, save for Alana, who ran straight into the back of the bugbear's leg. Poof! She turned back into her half-elf form, rubbing her head with a look of chagrin. Mogru was unmoved, pulling Charlie within inches to his face and growled, "Give." Having no idea what Mogru was talking about, Charlie began frantically emptying his pockets. A few coins, a silver hair barrette, Penelope's, 2 acorns, Dorian's, a little rock with a smiley face, Nick's, and a broken pair of glasses, Benny's. I mean mine. With an awkward grimace, he shrugged while everyone else came to collect their belongings, including yours truly. I had just stepped out of my hovel to witness all the commotion when I took note of the poor gnome about to be torn in two. "My dear Mogru, please unhand the tiny fellow. I'm sure whatever he has done can be resolved amicably."
"No, take bread."
No, he did not. I borrowed your patch, Mogru. I wanted to understand the stitching to discern where it may have originated. One moment, please. A few seconds later, I had returned with Mogru's patch. It was an emblem of sorts with a picture of the chickens, one that he took from poachers, which led him here. Dropping the gnome to the ground, he gently took the patch, grunted, and went back to his brooding. Charlie dusted himself off, looked embarrassingly around the camp, and summoned a few floating skulls to accompany his bruised ego before walking over to Garlic, one of the few friends he's made since arriving. The goblin found Charlie's tricks amusing, and the two seemed to share a certain love for fast-paced music and the adrenaline rush of living close to the edge. Whatever the case may be, I'm happy to see at least some progress for all the lost wanderers around here, for it's getting quite cramped as of late. Hopefully, with some alliances being made, these little parties will eventually set out on their own and make way for any new individuals who are in need of a little pick-me-up or respite, as the Gathering Stone will always be here for them. Otherwise, its namesake may as well be a transient existence. That's it for this week, folks. Just a little insight to our current situation here. I hope you enjoyed it, and be sure to come back next week for more stories, characters, and illustrations. Farewell for now.